lateral, what is?
The establishing the ranks.
Pen going back.
Are we adding a new rank, or what is it?
What? So, in the police and fire commission's bylaws, it says that we're supposed to have an ordinance that defines that. Okay. So we're in violation of their bylaws and we approved previously, so it's just kind of a catch up. Yeah. Another thing it does too is when Marcus exits that assistant chief role, it abolishes that position and it turns it into deputy chief. Oh, we are, okay. Just this here. I'll look at my municipal code that we've got. This is a constant effort of working our angels regulations. So on this last page, the biggest thing that they're changing is three folders of service and or rank order task force. Before we have a probationary officer, so. We're down on that. You guys do those stuff. Oh, yeah. That's why, so he's back on days, because he didn't have a shift. Oh, but he's still staying there. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He just, he voluntarily ran for the position. So financing. Okay, so this was the lowest. Oh, yeah, so that's Jason.
What's that? I should make sure mine says that.
Yeah,
I think somebody changed it out to something else.
Call the Oglesby City Council meeting to order.
Augubright.
Here.
Cullinan.
Here.
Curran.
Here.
Udis.
Here.
Rivera.
Here. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion and second to approve the minutes of the June 6th, 2022 regular meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Good enough.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Public comments on agenda items only. Having none, we'll move on. Approve bills as presented for payment.
I will make a motion to approve bills as presented for payment.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Authorize financing of a new ambulance for the Oglesby Ambulance Department at a rate of 3.98% through the Illinois State Bank in the amount of $230,000.
So I called all three banks in Oglesby. One was higher, the other one beat the rate by a little bit, but they had $2,000 in fees. So this is the cheapest option that we had. And we're financing just because cash flow and that kind of stuff, it's easier to finance over 5 years, and the rate is pretty good right now, and I think rates are definitely gonna start jumping, so that's why we're going this route.
And this is to replace the ambulance that was wrecked.
That's correct.
Do we have an estimate how long it might take for the insurance to process all that?
So an update on that, they came in originally at $16,000 for that ambulance. I had Amy reach out to them, they came back at $20,000. I spoke to the rep last week and expressed to him that I thought the rate was low, and I said, what did you base this price at? And they said that they had other comps that showed that that's what replacement value is. However, I know one we had from Foster Coach that we initially looked at was very comparable at $35,000. I know Kathy, the ambulance director, has found another one at $30,000 that's comparable. And I think we also have a third quote that's in that same neighborhood. So he told me if I submit those to him and he reviews them, the reimbursement will go up. So I'm hopeful that we'll be above $30,000 on a reimbursement for that ambulance.
Motion and second?
I will make a motion to authorize financing new ambulance for 3.98% through Illinois State Bank in the amount of $230,000.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next on the agenda is number 8, approve rules and regulations of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners for the City of Oglesby.
So a little bit on this. The Illinois Municipal Code says that before the Police and Fire Commission can change any of its rules, we have to be aware before those changes can take effect. So on the last page of this handout, you'll see 3 changes. The first 2 are very minimal. The biggest change is number 3, where it says that candidates for promotion to sergeant will have a minimum of 3 years of service at a lower rank, with at least 1 year of service with the Oglesby Police Department. So what that does is previously, to test for sergeant, you could have been a probationary police officer and still test for sergeant, which we don't want that. So this makes it so you have to have at least 3 years of police experience, with one of those being with Oglesby before they can put in for promotion. So I don't know, I guess we just make a motion on this, correct?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the rules and regulations of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners for the City of Oglesby.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan. Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
And Terry, if I can interrupt for 1 second.
Sure.
So Amy, do you have the ability to manipulate this into this hard rules and regulations, or no? Okay, because I think we should keep a set up to date, without having to remember, you gotta look to the last page, because there's changes here. And you would need Adobe Acrobat or something to do that. Okay. Just gonna offer to help if you need me.
Next, approve 1196-051622, an ordinance modifying the terms of employment for the Oglesby Chief of Police.
I will make a motion, we approve 1196-051622, an ordinance modifying the terms of employment for the Oglesby Chief of Police.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next is approve 1199-062022, an ordinance approving a text amendment to section 14-3-1 of the Oglesby Land Development Code so as to authorize sport and recreation participants as a permitted use in a B1 downtown commercial district in the city of Oglesby, LaSalle County, Illinois.
Just on your packets, I saw there's an error on the 4th paragraph at the beginning, whereas shouldn't that be June 6th of 2022 and not 2020?
Yes, it should.
So we just got to make that correction.
I'll make that correction and send it to you in the morning. Or you can probably make it.
I can make it.
Okay. Thank you for catching that, dear.
You looking for a motion, Mayor? I'll make a motion to approve
I thought I did already, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve 1199-062022, an ordinance approving a text amendment to section 14-3-1 of the Oglesby Land Development Code so as to authorize sports and recreation participant as permitted use in a B1 downtown commercial district in the city of Oglesby, LaSalle County, Illinois.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next on the agenda is approve 1200-062022, an ordinance establishing ranks within the police department for the city of Oglesby, LaSalle County, Illinois.
So the reason for this ordinance is because in the bylaws for the Police and Fire Commission, it references that we're supposed to have an ordinance that says this. So basically, we're trying to become compliant with how it's referenced with the Police and Fire Commission.
Terry, did you happen to see my email to you?
I did, and what change, do you want to just kind of mention what the small changes you made?
Well, the
Yeah.
only changes I made were to the section numbers, and I may have rephrased a little bit of the work in A and B about the deputy chief of police and the assistant chief of police, but nothing of any substance at all. But there was a previous section in here that we took out regarding a
Auxiliary.
auxiliary police force. And with the removal of that section, all the numbers were off, so I just changed some numbers. And that was it, honestly. It was really mostly section changes numbers.
You're saying that change you made is what we're seeing right now?
Well, this is probably wrong here. So, the only one that really changed of any substance were the section numbers, and then if you want to read it, starting at the bottom of the first page, here, with A and B.
Is that what's still in our packets, though?
No, these were just hot off the press today.
So the only modifications was to 2.33.090?
Correct.
Everything else is the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Run them numbers by me again.
Right here, so, starting here, at A and B. Those are the only ones that changed now. And then
Okay.
some of these numbers changed here and throughout, but, yeah.
There's something else different, though. In the 100 section, the original one I see here, it says, the original says, "There are hereby created the positions of police sergeant in the city of Oglesby." The new one says, "There are hereby created the positions of police lieutenant and police sergeant in the city of Oglesby."
Lieutenant should be struck.
Should be struck?
Yeah, because we don't have a lieutenant.
This is the 100 section?
Yep.
Yeah,
I just noticed it because I looked like there's enough, it's a little longer.
That was me, probably.
I got it. So it's there hereby created the position of police
Yes.
sergeants.
With an S in parentheses probably, because there might be more than one in here.
Correct, there are, yeah.
Okay, make that change.
Good.
And I put that S in that caption too, Amy.
Got it.
But you wanted to leave investigator in, right, Terry?
Yeah, we need investigator in there. Anybody have any questions about this, guys?
Hold on, there's still some other differences. I'm trying to see what they are. The old one has an 8, the new one does not. Something about if an officer is
paragraph
full-time certified, numbers 1 through 7 are not necessary, and that's removed from the next one.
That was at the suggestion of the police chief, that's why that was put in there.
Okay.
So that should be in
That
this.
should be in there?
Should be in this one.
Amy?
How,
Sorry.
let me ask you, I'm not trying to stonewall
They
or
want,
anything
they
like
wanted,
that.
they wanted this done before they moved forward with with
Okay.
testing for sergeant.
I'm just saying, we're at like 3 pen and ink strikes now on it. I don't know if we just wanted to wait till another.
Minimal. I mean,
Okay.
just typing.
All right.
I can.
Section 130 is different too, because it has, the new one doesn't even mention Assistant Chief of Police. No, this is the other one, so it's different as well.
Wait.
I mean, they're minor, but
You see what he's talking about there, Amy?
There isn't a
Yeah.
130 in this one.
It's a
120,
120 now,
120.
Amy.
Oh,
But we mentioned patrolman,
Okay.
sergeant, deputy chief, we should probably add assistant chief there, and chief of police shall be determined by the city council.
Because we still have one.
Right.
if we approve that, then I guess Marcus doesn't count as one of the numbers anymore then, I guess.
He wouldn't like that.
Probably not. Those are the only things I see that's different.
I'll make a motion with the corrections just stated that we approve 1200-062022, an ordinance establishing the ranks within the police department for the city of Oglesby, LaSalle County, Illinois.
Second.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Herman.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next
Send me a
tw-
copy, Amy, please. Of the final one, would you send me a copy, please?
Okay, number 12 is authorize Chamlin and Associates to draw up plans to provide cost estimates to develop a city parking lot on East Walnut Street, Oglesby, Illinois. And we all were handed this. I'll just say what I look at it, and I understand why Jim made it this way, but I just don't think it's a good idea to run an exit out into the alley. And my logic for that is, we'd probably have to have a fence down on both sides. And we've got Rupert Construction, is building to the east, and I know he's got, building equipment back there. I just don't wanna create a nightmare for ourselves.
Is it my understanding that if we do that, Mayor, that we lose out on 4 parking spaces?
That's what my engineer says,
All right.
and I believe him, he's not gonna.
There's only 60, volume-wise, I don't know how much that will affect the back exit anyway.
We're taking
And I was-
25%, yeah.
I was guessing we were gonna put a fence up around it.
I think we'd have to get some property here too. I mean, I'm sure there'd be some trading done.
Well, this is, I think the city owns that little strip already.
Yeah, they own a strip, but they're gonna have to cut back through on, this guy's property that's there now, Thompson.
pool.
Well, I was gonna say, wouldn't that be a trade?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we're-
trade.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's what we've been talking to Jim about, a trade for the pool parcel for that 5-foot strip, 3-foot strip parcel. Right, Jim?
Because this would be entrance only off of Walnut and then exit out the back, correct? Or you can either way, okay.
Would we have to move that pole back there? Would we have to move that one pole back there?
Can I ask, I'm curious, what is the minimum width you have to have if you were to have one where it comes in on the west as an in and then on the east as an exit? I don't know what the minimum distance width it has to be to have a turn radius. If we wanted to have something like that, like let's say, like a fraction of what we have on our main city lot to where it comes in, goes around. Even if it was just the internal strip that was the parking, like if it was on the outside edges that you come in, turn around and come back out the other side, if it was just parking on the center strip, one direction and another way, the other direction out. I don't know what the minimum turn radius is. You would lose parking because of the turnaround. I'm just trying to think of ways that we wouldn't have to exit into the alley then.
Need a motion?
I motion to authorize Shamlin to draw plans to provide cost estimates of the Oklahoma City parking lot on East Walnut Street.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
No. Next, approve request for a donation from the 9th Annual Cruise Against Cancer event to be held on the root beer stand on September 17th, 2022, in the amount of $600.
Have we done this the last 8 years, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the request for a donation from 9th Annual Cruising Against Cancer event to be held at the root beer stand on September 17th, 2022, in the amount of $600.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next is the approve a request from the Star of Rock Runners to hold the annual Turkey Trot on November 24th, 2022. You want me to read the letter, or just do a motion in second?
I think we could do a motion second, because I don't know how many years it's been going on, but it's a lot.
Same letter every year.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the request from the Star of Rock Runners to hold annual turkey trot on November 24th, 2022.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Discussion on the iron plant maintenance.
So I didn't put this up as anything kind of approval because I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to kind of mull it over, take a look at it. I haven't really ever brought it up before. It is in our 10-year kind of maintenance plan for the water and wastewater and all that kind of stuff. So we've got 2 big tanks out at the iron plant. Now, let's see here, what's my details on it? They were installed in '77. The last time any maintenance was done on them for refurbishment that we have records of was in 1989, so that's 33 years ago. They generally only have a 20-year life. They were functional, so that's why it was on the 10-year plan. I didn't have a specific date for it. However, I don't know which one, but one of them is severely leaking right now. So that one's gonna have to get done sooner than later. So I had some loose estimates get done for both of them. We don't necessarily have to do both. We could choose to do one, just to show you a couple of the cost estimates that we got earlier this year. Carita has, and this is just for the filters and the installation and everything, $169,000 for both of them. That does not include the sandblasting and powder coating and everything. The other quotes we have, which I believe are in your things there. I think I have a couple of them. I have from Putnam County Painting, which they've done a good job for us before. It's $38,000 for one of the tanks. If we did both, obviously, that's a little short of $80,000. And then for all the equipment, the sand, the installation, all that stuff like that, it's $33,000 for one of them as well. If you did both, it'd be $66,000. So the thing that's interesting is for for the powder coating, the sandblasting, the powder coating, and everything, even from Putnam County Painting, it is actually still under the cost of just the equipment and material from Carita. I'm not asking to pull it on file for a quote, I just wanted to kind of know what people kind of thought, if they thought we should do all of it, or just do one tank at a time, and then within the next couple of years, we could do the other one.
There's no discount for two of them then?
So that's kind of the question. I don't know how much more the cost will go up, because, I mean, they are both gonna have to get done. I'm
Yeah.
just saying for right now, only one really needs to be done. And the last quote I have, I think this was from March technically. So we'd have to get an updated quote anyways, but I can see if there'd be a discount between both, if that's the question. I'm just basically asking now if there's any more questions that people have, I can find that kind of stuff out so we can bring something to the table to place on file and vote on eventually.
So if one has to be done now, Jason, what do you think the life is on the other one before it has to be?
So that's a great question, because there's supposed to be a 20-year life, and it's been 33 years already. That's how everything in this city is when everything's busted like this. You know, and that's why it was even though there wasn't a problem. So what happens is, the iron plant removes the iron from the water, obviously. But when that fails or doesn't do a good job, it forces our softeners to have to work harder. So that goes through its resin faster and things like that. So that's why we can kind of get away with the maintenance on it being kind of, you know, behind the ball. So, but I would say probably within the next couple of years. I mean, obviously the whole thing was on our 10-year maintenance plan anyways, and that was developed, I think, 4 years ago. So it's on there already, but one of them we gotta get done. So if you'd like to, I can find out for quotes for if there's one or both, see what the difference is.
I think that'd be better. 'Cause eventually, if both gonna have to be done eventually, I mean, we can get a better deal with two.
If we can, but I'm also kind of, it's the same thing like I talked about with the ambulances. I like to stagger, if we have the option to stagger some maintenance, so that way it doesn't always have to be
Doesn't
done at
hit
the
us
same
all at
time.
once.
There is truth to
But
that.
then these two are done for 39 years or whatever, right?
Again,
20 years.
Well, we
anyway.
got-
20
we
years
got
is
our
what I'm
money's
told.
worth out of it anyway.
you know, it's the same thing, the plant's only supposed to be 20, 25 years, but we had it for, what, 57 years or something like that? So, I mean, everything always goes past its useful life anymore. But, so if there's any other questions, that'll be the one question I'll make sure I get answered for the next time, is we'll get quotes for both options, if there's a discount between both or not.
There's
See if the
discounts,
dollar
we should
amount
do
is up.
both, yeah.
Okay,
Okay?
very good. Discussion and vote to send pending matter to the planning commission.
So, back in April 18th, a couple of these items we actually voted, same with the axe throwing to throw to the zoning commission. Unfortunately, it's not the zoning commission, it's actually the plan commission. Talking with our attorney, we didn't really have settled on some language yet, exactly what to do. So we met last week with engineer, the mayor, myself, the attorney, and we got some language kind of done up. There's actually 6 items to get sent to the plan commission, and they're across 3 different categories. There is 2 for the land development code, 2 for the building code and electrical inspection stuff, and 2 for the building permit process. 4 of the items I think I've already talked about on April 18th. That was the sidewalk requirement to the diagram portion of the building permit process, require homeowners or contractors to have spray paint or some kind of marking where a fence is going to be in place before the building inspector arrives on site. And then we actually got the language for the land development code for the side yard height for corner lots, and then the sidewalk requirements for cul-de-sacs. I could read them, but they're actually very lengthy. Should I skip reading them? I think they're in your packets.
Let the planning commission figure that one out.
Okay, and then the last item was a new item. This is when I was speaking with our electrical inspector. One of them was, if you look at the definition of what requires for electric permits, it states this: electric permits are required for new service, surface upgrades, and replacement of existing wiring. An inspection is required for underground service, rough-in, and finished when applicable. So one of the problems it doesn't have here is new installation. So if you're not upgrading your service or a service upgrade or replacement of existing wiring to like a new installation, it does not require electrical inspection, and that could be a problem. That's number one. The second one is something that we talked about 2 years ago. We'd like to also add in there electric generators would require electric permit, because we have certain ones in the city If you remember when the derecho happened, that we didn't have any kind of record if anybody has a gas generator in the city. So adding those two items in there would now require somebody to get an electrical permit for any future installation. So those are the 6 items.
Okay, I got one question on it. I understand the reason why we have to have one for the generators. Don't we need to do something for solar, or is that included in that?
So it's not necessarily included in here. We could put that in, but we actually already have a process for that because of the solar application stuff. We could always add that wording in there. I don't have a problem with that. But right now, nobody can put solar in the city without the city being aware of it already because of that.
Well, that's just like, nobody should be installing these generators without being inspected.
That, they shouldn't, but according to our electric permit process, it's not required. That's the problem. That's what we want to solve.
We need to dot the i's and cross the t's to make sure that gets done.
Well, this will get it done, sir.
Okay. I'll need a
A motion?
motion and second.
I'll make a motion to send the pending 6 items to the Plan Commission for review.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan. Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Old business.
I do have another one. I didn't get it in time. But if you remember from last meeting, I discussed I'd have some plans and stuff together for the situation on Walnut Street. So I came with some stuff here. There is really 2 options. Well, there's 3 options. We have the first one, which was from 3 years ago, was the $800,000 job, which was all isolation valves and all piping and everything like that. But the truth of the matter is, you know, we have a lot of bad piping in the city already. If that goes bad, we got to replace it. There's 2 other options out here. One's a little over 100,000 and one's under 100,000. And that is if we were to just replace the isolation valves themselves, not necessarily the pipes. This would allow it to, if there would be a break anywhere between the 4 corners all the way up to the interstate, that we wouldn't have to shut the city down. Because if you all recall, in the last 3 years, we've had to do that twice. And they're about 2 months apart or so. So if we go ahead with this, I don't know if you guys have, I don't think it's in your packets here. So one is called an easy valve option, which is basically where they put valves in place while it's live. And the other one is new valves, but there's a process called a line stop. If we do the line stop, it does shut down a section of town for a period of time, which we prefer not to do. That's over 100,000, the next one's under 100,000. If anybody has any questions on it, I'm planning to bring a much more detailed cost estimate and quotes for the next meeting.
Basically, what this would allow us to do, if we have a leak and we've got these valves where we can shut off, we won't have to shut the town down.
Correct. Schools don't have to close, businesses don't have to close. We'd actually be able to shut it down and work on the maintenance for the affected area. Because that's the problem. That 14-inch line is so large that when a break happens on it, the pressure is so massive. There's no way to isolate anything except shut the entire town down.
But what it doesn't do is resolve the problem of the bad pipe.
Correct. There's still going to be bad pipe, which is another issue, but when you're talking about a $100,000 fix versus an $800,000 fix, I think this is a valuable option to look at.
Well, we have to look at the options so we can't shut the town down.
I would agree. I would agree. So if nobody has any other further questions on that, I will make sure we get some multiple quotes for the next meeting so we can evaluate that. All right.
Public comments? None from anybody present. I had a public comment delivered to me in person this morning, and that's whether Xland Fitness at 324 East Walnut Street, if that had to be rezoned, and the answer to that is no. Commissioners' reports.
I have nothing to report tonight.
I don't have anything, Mayor.
I'd just like to thank John Rose and the Park Department for doing a good job over celebration days, and all the helpers, they all helped out and everything went good.
Jason?
The only thing I have is just echo what Commissioner Collin and just said. I think everybody did a fantastic job, and it was a great event. That's all I got.
I just got a couple things, and to you, I want to thank the city employees, all the volunteers who work, North America Midway, all the vendors, and the public that came to our fun days. Without their help and support, we would not be able to put on a great family-friendly event. We will make a formal financial report when the city has completed the revenue and expenses for Summerfest. Craig Snyder of Oglesby won the 50-50 drawing. That was at $11,641. His split before taxes is $58.20, 50 cents. Mike Christensen was the winner of the chainsaw carving of the eagle. And I did receive a letter from Laureen Knudsen, Girl Scout Troop 1551. They had finished planting their pollinator garden at the canoe landing. It was a troop service project, and we thank the Girl Scout troop for their hard work in creating the garden at the boat landing. Well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Judith.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.